Welcome back, everybody, to AVTJC Absolute Victory through Jesus Christ. My name is Scott Chopic. This evening, I want to talk to you about the power of prayer. Just give you some examples, but first of all, I want to give you some scriptures to kind of define where I'm going with this. So in John 10:10, it says, "The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy." And Jesus said, "I have come that you may have life and have it more abundantly." So who is the thief? In 2 Corinthians 4:4, it says, "The God of this age has blinded the minds of unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel that displays the glory of Christ, who is the image of the true God." And Hebrews 2:14 and 15, "Since the children have partaken of flesh and blood, he too shared in the same humility, so that his death," I'm talking about Jesus, "might break the power of him who holds the power of death, that is, the devil, and free those who were all their lifetime held in bondage by their fear of death." So, three references to Satan and his power over death and control of the world system. If you take an opportunity and study those, you will definitely see that the devil is alive and well, or dead and well, however you want to look at it. The reason why I wanted to bring all that up is because of my life and the path of death that I was going down at a very young age. I'm talking when my dad was killed, I was 14 years old. I came home drunk that evening, the night that he was killed. So that probably puts me like in 7th or 8th grade. So I started quite young, and I was partying hard and heavy. And I was in a lot of things that should have killed me. Multiple accidents, 2 or 3 car accidents, a snowmobile accident where I jumped a snowbank and landed on a fire hydrant with the snowmobile. So multiple occasions that I should have been dead. But I would always take off from my mom's house and walk around the corner and head uptown. And what I didn't realize until like 35 years later, actually a few years ago, I was at a cousin's wedding, and him and his wife are both Christians, and we were there celebrating his son's wedding. And for some reason got on the subject about how radical I used to be, and the fact that, I survived all of it. And all of a sudden my cousin got a big smile on his face, and he revealed to me that every time they seen me take off from my mother's house and head uptown, him and his wife would pray for me. And that was mind-boggling to me. It kind of shook my world to actually believe that somebody cared enough to pray for me. And I don't know if my mom prayed for me. I'm sure she did in her own way. But we weren't. We were Lutherans, but we didn't say the Lord's. We didn't say bless our meals or anything like that. So we weren't really religious, if you want to, put it that way. So I believe that my cousin's prayers and his wife's prayers really saved me from a lot of these scriptures I just talked about, who had the power of death, who wanted to kill me, who was Satan, bottom line. So I say all that to say that pray for your children. And I've said this before, I just touched on it. But since, it was like 10 months ago, and I kind of did a blog on that, pray for your children, pray for your loved ones, because you don't realize what your prayers will deliver them from. And that's, ever since then, now from time to time, I think back about that wedding reception and sitting there, and how my cousin, revealed to me that they prayed for me. And I still stand in awe. That somebody actually took the time to pray for me. I considered them at the time religious fanatics, and thank God for that now. But, I was on my own path. But every time I would sit back and just think about, wow, they really saved me from death on many occasions just by their prayers when they seen me heading uptown to go partying. And all of a sudden one day when I was thinking about that, the Lord kind of revealed something to me, and it was kind of a revolutionary in my own thinking. So many times we ask the questions, say we see where a drunk driver hit a family, and like the drunk driver survives, but somebody else dies as a result of it. And we always wonder, how come it's always the good people, the bad person that survives, and it's the good person that ends up dying. And as I was reflecting on that wedding reception, the Lord revealed to me, he said, families who have children or somebody that's on the right path, on the right course, they're doing everything right. Their head is on straight. They're doing great in school. They've got all of their ducks in a line. They know what they're going to do after school. Versus the child that was like me. They have a tendency to pray for the child that's, that looks like he's never going to make it. But when it comes to the kid that's on the straight course, everything's going right in his life. There's no need to pray because, hey, they're heading in the right direction. And the Lord just shared to me, in a lot of these scenarios, that's the case. And not to say that this is, set in stone and this is the way everything is, because there's always different circumstances involving bad things that happen in people's lives. But he revealed this to me for a reason, that prayer is so important, especially for the kids that are going in the right direction and everything seems to be lined up for them. They need prayer just as much as the kid that's going the wrong way, because the enemy's out to take out anybody he can, good or bad. And so my wife and I make it a point to pray all the time when we take off from here, when we're at home, when we're going somewhere. We pray over our kids. It's become a lifestyle, and I thank God for that, because even our kids could probably testify that there's been some close calls in our lives, and they walk away with very little but maybe a scrape. So I just wanted to share that with you tonight, that prayer is important. And if you ever wonder again why bad things happen to good people, it's because, we look at them and think, everything's going right for them. Why did they need prayer? Well, they do. They do just as much as that drunk driver. Somebody was praying for him. Did he deserve to live and they deserve to die? I'm not here to judge that either way. Everybody makes mistakes. In my heart, the family man or the person behind the driver's wheel that wasn't doing anything wrong definitely did not deserve to die. My own feelings about drunk drivers, well, I was arrested for drunk driving once, so I can't judge anybody. But what I can say is that it is important to pray for people, even if it looks like everything is going in the right direction. You don't know what's going on in their lives, and don't ever take it for granted. So pray and believe God for their peace and safety. Pray over your families every day and every night. I thank you for listening to me. God bless and have a good evening.